I'm making an executive decision.
Uh-oh.
We're moving into the summer. I think this summer we're going to cover just
Summer movies?
summer movies / kids in danger.
Sweep the leg. You have a problem with that?
Welcome to the Project Gen X Retro Summer Series 2022.
Sarah, beware. I have been generous up until now, but I can be cruel.
Starting in May and ending in August, we will review the summer movies from our youth that include Tron,
Still don't understand why you want to break into the system.
Because, man, somewhere in one of these memories is the evidence. If I got in far enough, I could reconstruct it.
Adventures in Babysitting,
Don't fuck with the babysitter.
The Goonies,
Don't say that! Never say that! Goonies never say die!
Back to the Future,
Whoa, this is heavy. There's that word again, heavy. Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull? What?
and so much more.
We talked into the night. The kind of talk that seemed important until you discover girls.
If I can only have one food for the rest of my life, that's easy. Pass. Cherry flavor pass.
Along the way, we will also sprinkle in some non-movie goodness that will remind us what it was like to be a kid when the socks were high, the shorts were extra short, and there wasn't a cell phone to be seen.
E.T. phone home. E.T. phone home. Wants to call somebody.
So sit back and join Big Dave, Barry, and myself, Alan Smith, to relive the magic of the 80s and the retro summer. We're recording.
Yes,
All
we are.
right.
Sweet.
Welcome back to the Project Gen X podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Alan Smith, along with
Barry!
And on this episode, if my voice will hold up, we are going to. I am too old to be staying out late.
You're too old to be staying out late doing karaoke.
Doing karaoke and also having allergies, and to have the audacity to live in Tennessee and have allergies.
Dare you? How dare you?
Yeah. So we're going to be talking about the movie, the 1980.
85.
85 movie.
Yes, the classic.
Explorers, which
Odds are you've seen but didn't remember.
Yeah, and I know, judging by the multiple pages of like extensive notes I'm looking at here in front of me, I'm going to let you kind of take point on this.
No worries.
I have notes here, but like I have like half a page handwritten, so it's like
No worries, baby. I got you.
right.
Well, it just so happens this is one of my favorite movies. So,
and it was, and I know I was one that suggested
Yes.
this one because I just, for whatever reason, a few weeks ago, the movie like kind of popped in my head out of nowhere for no reason. There was, actually I know what it was.
Okay.
It was because Moon Knight, as we're recording this, Moon Knight is happening on Disney Plus.
Yes.
It's in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, whatever.
Right.
And Ethan Hawke
Oh,
is
yeah.
in it.
Okay. Yeah.
And
yeah.
so that, for whatever reason, triggered Explorers because this is one of his first roles.
Yeah.
And
Definitely one of his younger ones.
oh, absolutely, yeah. And but most people forget that he was a child actor.
Mm-hmm.
I know most people remember him like when he was like in his teens and early 20s, but like no, he was a kid in this movie. And then also just a stellar cast with
Amanda Peterson. Well,
I've got them all. I know I got a whole list of stuff here.
We'll get into
of
it.
people in it.
Well, let's start off with a little background on
All
this. Explorers, 1985, actually released on July 12th, day after my sister's birthday.
Nice.
Directed by Joe Dante,
Yes, I got that written down there.
the master of all cool
Yes.
things. It was originally written by a guy named Eric Luke. Budgeted right around $22 million, I think it was.
Okay.
It made $9.
Yeah, it
So
was.
it was.
Yeah.
Well, in its defense, The timing that this movie was released could not have been worse.
You were telling me about this.
God love him. And from what I understand, Joe Dante fought on this one tooth and nail the entire time with, was it Paramount? I think
Yes, it's Paramount. Yes.
Just could not get anything. The movie wasn't finished. It wasn't the ending he wanted. There was a whole sub-story.
It seems a little abrupt. Yeah.
That just didn't happen. But to give you some idea, this movie came out, I believe it's 2 days after Live Aid, and like a week and a half after Back to the Future.
Right. And Back to the Future ruled that summer.
It just it took over. You know, there's no other way to say it. It took over. And so it was kind of doomed from the start. So if you happen to see the movie, the version that you'll see on like home video and Netflix and things like that, totally different than the one that you saw in the theaters.
I watched because I did not own a copy of this, and so I had to go find it, and it said theatrical on it. So and as far as I know, that's the only version I've ever seen, because everything I saw that was in there was what I remember seeing on VHS.
There's a few little
so you'll have to tell me if you've got notes on what.
I got a couple.
Okay,
so
because that kind of made me. I was like, oh, is there a director's cut or something?
I don't think it's ever been released.
Okay,
as a director's cut. They have a theatrical release, and then they have the made for TV version, which is a little different.
Oh, okay, yeah. I love a little side note.
Yes,
I love some of that stuff of extra scenes that were shot for television. It was like, very famously Halloween.
Yes,
it has a bunch of extra stuff that when it aired on television, wound up on the TV that never appeared in the theaters. And there are multiple cuts of this of that movie in particular you can find, especially on the internet, where it's like, no, here's all the TV stuff put into it, and here's all the no, you're not crazy. This
actually happened. They actually recorded
this. Close Encounters of the Third Kind did the same thing.
Blazing Saddles did.
Blazing Saddles had to.
Yeah,
even back then they had to. As well as a few other, what was it? There was another really famous one that I can't remember off the top of my head around that era.
Yeah,
that there's all this extra stuff that was not in the movie.
It was never in the theaters. Yeah.
So.
Well, and so we'll go over the plot in just a second, but just to kind of give you a quick rundown on the cast, because this is a great cast. Just an amazing cast for what it was.
Yes.
The three main characters on this were three kids. Ben Crandall, who was played by a very, very young Ethan Hawke.
Which, before we get in, I want to talk about Ethan. So,
go for it.
Did you notice all the Ethan Hawke mannerisms?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes.
I was like, this is so scary. Like watching him, he's been doing those same affects and voice and facial expressions and stuff. Yeah, since he was a kid.
Well, you have a very young Ethan Hawke, and then playing Wolfgang, one of the greatest names of all time.
Yes.
River Phoenix.
Yes.
A very young River Phoenix. I think this was his first big role. It was either his first big one or one of his first.
Yeah,
big ones.
it was.
I can't remember if it was this or Running on Empty, but it was definitely one.
No,
of his
this is before Running on Empty. He's much younger here than he was in Running on Empty.
Yeah.
Of course, this was also before. This is a year before Stand by Me, 2 years before Stand by Me, something like that. Which was like his big.
That was the big blowout. Yeah.
But yeah, this is. I know that he had some stuff prior.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here.
Well, while you're looking that up on the Magic Witch box, the other main character in this was a gentleman by the name of Jason Presson, who was kind of a hey, it's that guy. He's been in a few other things, but nothing really of note.
This was his first major role.
Okay,
like he was in some TV stuff, like he was in Hotel.
Yeah, he'd done a lot of
Your Move and After School Special,
of course,
some stuff like that. But this was his first big one. And then Stand By Me was the next year, and that's the one that
that's the one that really broke him out.
And you get the Mosquito Coast and Night and Light of Jimmy Reardon and all that stuff comes after the fact. But again, he always was one of those actors that from the beginning you're like, there's something about this guy.
Yeah, he's got something. We're not sure what it is.
He's different than everyone
absolutely.
Else. So.
And then you have the love interest on this one, Laurie Swenson, played by R.I.P. Amanda Peterson. For those of you who don't know that name, if you ever saw the movie Can't Buy Me Love,
she was the main.
She was the main
love interest. Yeah,
I cannot remember what her name was in that movie, but
I can't remember her name either.
We'll look it up.
Yeah.
But Bobby Fight is in this. He's another Hey, It's That Guy. He's been in quite a bit. He plays Steve Jackson, the bully.
Right,
So,
right. Well, one of his little minions was another guy I recognized.
All right.
And of course, I don't have him written down. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, he was another. I looked. I was like, oh yeah, it's that guy who like again wound up in a ton of movies in the late '80s and early '90s. You're like, oh, it's that guy. Oh, it's that guy.
And
you know,
playing Wolfgang's dad was James Cromwell.
James Cromwell. I know.
I love that. I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot he was in this.
Yes.
Mary Kay Place plays Ben's mom.
Yes.
Another. She's been in a tremendous
ton of stuff. I know.
Meshach Taylor has an appearance in it.
He's got 2 scenes.
Yes.
And
he's a helicopter pilot.
Yes,
Yeah.
and along with who's there with him? It's Dick Miller.
Dick Miller. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Like Joe Dante apparently really loved working with Dick Miller because you think about like Gremlins. He was in that.
Yeah.
You start going down the line of like all these these Joe Dante.
So you're
movies.
a spaceman. Huh?
Yeah, I know. And
my favorite, the Star Trek fans are going to go crazy on this one. Playing a character named Starkiller. A character named
will talk
Wack
about that.
And Wack's dad.
Yes.
Robert Picardo.
Yes. I know.
You forget
another one of those. Hey, it's that guy. He's been in
but once
so
you see
many
him,
things.
I can't remember who he played on Star Trek. He was one of the doctors, and I can't think of his name.
He was in Voyager.
Yeah, but he's definitely a Hey, It's That Guy, and you forget how much of a rubber face he is.
Oh yeah,
I mean, this guy just overacted to the rafters, and it was beautiful. It was exactly what needed to happen.
Funny, like. Bradley Gregg was the guy I was trying to think.
Bradley Gregg, okay.
He was just in that one scene whenever Steve Jackson's beating up Ben. He's like he comes into frame for like a couple seconds. I'm like, oh, I recognize him because he was in like A Nightmare on Elm Street 3. He was in Stand By Me. He was one of the older kids in Stand By Me.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
He was in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade in Class of 1999. Another one of those. If you just go through his IMDb, you're like, oh yeah, he was on 21 Jump Street. He was on this. He was one of those. He's turned up all those.
Guy. Yeah, he's a Hey, It's That Guy.
What was I looking up though? It was
Robert Picardo's character.
Robert Picardo was in. He was in Voyager. He played the Doctor.
Yes, and I cannot remember.
That's all it says is the Doctor.
The Doctor. Yeah.
And but of course he was also on China Beach.
Oh yeah, he's been. In a ton
he was
of
in Star
stuff.
Trek First Contact. He was in Inner Space.
I forgot he was in Inner Space.
Yeah,
he played one of the technicians.
Right. So like I said, it's one of those things that I recognized him immediately. I was like, yeah. I want to look up.
Okay. Well, while you're looking that up, I'm going to go ahead and start on the plot. So the plot, for those of you who have not seen this movie or who have forgotten about this movie.
Okay, sorry. Dick Miller was in The Terminator.
Yes.
He was in The Burbs.
Yes.
He was in The Howling.
Ooh, I forgot about that.
Hold on, let me move back a little. Go back to the 80s and 90s.
He's been a ton of stuff.
Yeah, he is one of those dudes that like would show up. He was in Gremlins 2.
Mm-hmm.
He was in.
He's always got that raspy voice.
Yeah.
That I've just smoked 15 packs of cigarettes and I've got nothing else to do today.
He was in one of my favorite parody, Amazon Women on the Moon.
I love that movie. That and Kentucky Fried Movie. We need to do an episode just on those.
He was in Project X.
Oh, the Matthew Broderick movie. Yeah,
he was on an episode of Amazing Stories. He was in Night of the Creeps. I forgot that he was Chopping Mall, After Hours.
See, now we've hit your sweet spot.
I know. I mean, it's like
now we found bad '80s horror, so we've hit your sweet spot.
He was in V: The Final Battle. I mean, he's one of those dudes that like just would show. Did you ever see the movie Get Crazy?
I think so. It sounds familiar.
It's got Daniel. It's a very early Daniel Stern movie. Basically, what it is it's about this concert. It's a New Year's Eve concert that's getting ready to happen, and it's like all the background. I want to find that movie.
Okay.
And we need to cover it if we can ever find it.
Dig it up and find it.
Yeah, because I have looked. It's never been released on DVD, and I've never been able to find a copy of it in the public domain.
We'll see if we can make it happen one way or another, legally or otherwise.
Yeah, Dick Miller is one of those guys that he was the face of 80s bit part
absolutely
and stuff. So anyway, go ahead.
All right. So
wait. There's one more. I'm sorry. Frank Welker. was the voice of the father of the father alien.
Yes.
Frank Welker, if you go through his acting credit, he's a voice actor.
Yeah, bring a lunch because that man has done everything.
When I say he has probably 1,000 credits, I'm not joking. I mean, it's that many
just
credits.
from cartoons alone.
Yeah, I mean, he did G.I. Joe. He was in he did Transformers. He did. I mean, I was going through his IMDb. You know, just like, oh my God, I forgot that he did. He was on the Smurfs. He did everything. Still working.
Yeah.
Still working today.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, he's up there with Mel Blanc as far as the voices. I mean, it's just crazy.
Or Peter Cullen.
Peter Cullen is another one, yeah.
And again, they work together, you know, so it's okay, so now we're done with that.
Now we're getting to the plot. 10 minutes into the episode, we're getting to the plot.
Just looking at that cast, though,
I know.
I mean,
you've got to give it its due. So, in a real quick summary of the plot. We're not going to dwell too much on it because there's too much other cool shit to talk about.
Man.
So, this is all about, and again, you may remember this from being a kid or not. 3 kids. Well, let me start off. Ben, the youngest kid, is a daydreamer. He's the one that, you know, starts having these really weird, vivid dreams about flying over things and
the circuit board.
It was.
And again, I had not seen this movie in probably 30 years, and forgot a lot of. But as soon as he was flying, the first one in my head, it's a circuit board.
Yes. Well, and he wakes up and he's best friends with this kid named Wolfgang, who is the stereotypical raised by geek parents.
Yes.
You are a geek. You know that kind of
scientist.
Thing. Yeah, exactly.
You know,
nerd to no end. Oddly enough, played by River Phoenix, which is such a weird casting for that, but it worked.
Yeah,
it worked.
Well, again, this is before he was River Phoenix,
right?
So, you know, I mean,
so they every night, you know, Ben wakes up and he's telling him about this dream, and they start drawing it out and all this other kind of stuff. So, they're getting bullied at school by what was the guy's name again?
Oh gosh,
Steve Jackson.
Yeah.
And Jason Preston's character, Darren Woods, comes in and kind of steps in and helps them out.
Right.
So they kind of quickly become friends. Well, Wolfgang starts working on actually designing the circuit board and figures out that it creates this weird bubble, this 3-dimensional bubble that's practically indestructible, that can set up to any speeds whatsoever.
Yes.
So they start playing with it. Of course, it totally wrecks his house. Well, they get this genius idea of what would happen if you're actually inside of the bubble, you know? And said, well, there'd be no air, but, you know, you could do it. So they get this weird scene where...
There's also no inertia, you find out.
Yeah, no inertia. They make a big deal about the word inertia.
They say it quite a few times in one scene. I know. It's.
He says it in German, as a matter of fact. Yeah. But so they get this whole scene where Ben gets this idea to spy on this girl he likes, Lori. So he puts him in the bubble and they float him up. And I think the bubble can only go based off how much power it has or something.
Yes.
So they get this genius idea of, well, let's see if we can actually get something that we can put together and fly around. So they decide to assemble this device, this weird spaceship thing, out of all things, a tilt-a-whirl.
Yes. Which I love
that idea.
Because what's his name? Darren knows a guy, or knows where there's a junkyard that you can get some stuff from. Yeah.
What was it when he's trying to befriend the dog?
Yeah.
So the dog's name was Bozo. Remember that?
Yeah.
He could just say, I brought him bones, I bought him, meat, nothing worked. Finally, he pulls out a piece of gum, hands it to him, and he goes, he likes gum?
Yeah. He's like, hey, don't you?
So they put together this ship, and they've assembled it, and they're flying around the town and, really getting into it. And there's this, I don't know if he was a cop or what he was. Dick Miller's
They were
character.
with the police. I mean, because that was on the side of the helicopter. There's a police shield.
Yeah.
So there's definitely. I think he's just a cop. He's not like a
detective
or anything.
So they're flying around and they happen to see this thing.
Yes.
After they destroy a drive-in theater.
Drive-in theater, yeah.
But so the cop sees this thing, he's trying to investigate it, and everybody thinks that he's crazy because he saw a flying saucer kind of thing. Well, during the process of their flight, something starts summoning them and drawing them up into space.
Right.
And they freak out and pull the power on it, so it crashes it.
Yes.
So they go back out another time. They finally get it, the the cop's starting to investigate. He finds the ship. He finds what's going on. He finds Ben because he left his jacket in it.
Yeah.
So you're a spaceman, huh?
Yeah.
So
You got to do the voice too. So you're a space.
yeah, you got to get that weird Italian.
I know.
But so they finally decide to go ahead and see where this is actually summoning. So they hook up like car batteries to it to give it enough juice. Get in this thing, and sure enough, it shoots him straight up into space. Dick Miller sees the liftoff and doesn't know what's going on. They don't know what's going on. They go somewhere up, out of our actual atmosphere.
Yes.
And they see this alien ship that they're basically being summoned into.
Mm-hmm.
So they come in, the ship lands inside of the alien ship. They get out, they're investigating, they walk around, and this is where you get to meet Whack.
Yes.
Yes, that's his name. Whack.
W-A-K.
Whack. He says it multiple times.
Yes.
And starts speaking to them, but he's speaking to them in
television
basically. Language, because that's
a,
how they learned. It was Whack and Neek.
Neek is his sister,
and Neek is lounging, talking in like Mae West kind of voices and stuff like that. And Whack sounds a lot like
and her and Wolfgang are
exactly
kind of got a thing going on,
Yeah, and Whack sounds a lot. Basically, it's a really bad not Milton Berle. A really big shoe. Who am I thinking of?
W.C. Fields. Well, it's also
Ed Sullivan.
Ed Sullivan.
That's what I was trying to think of.
He goes through but Ed Sullivan is kind of his
he bounces
go-to.
like from W.C. Fields to Ed Sullivan to all kinds of stuff.
He does
Johnny Carson.
He does Humphrey Bogart at one point.
Does do Bogart, and they're going through because they have learned how to speak English through television broadcasts, through the satellite broadcasts. They picked it up and they thought that Earth was this really cool place. So Ben is convinced that they have all the secrets of the universe and is trying to get them to talk to him and all this other kind of stuff. And come to find out that they were just two kids that have stole their dad's, car
basically,
and we're out joyriding and
because
wanted to go check out Earth.
When Wax's dad shows up and he's huge,
yep,
and they're like, "Oh, you're just kids." That's
So, and we forgot to mention the name of the ship.
Oh, okay. So this was one of those things that when I was a kid, I had not yet purchased the classic album, Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen. But when they're trying to name the ship, they're going through all different ones. They want to call it the Einstein. They want to call it different stuff. And Darren is like, let's call it the Thunder Road. And they're like, huh? He's like, yeah, it's
from a Springsteen
song, And they're like, okay, fine, it's the Thunder Road, And so
and they try to christen it with a bottle of beer, and it doesn't break.
Yeah. We'll get into all that here in a minute. We'll get into the details and stuff. Because this falls in one of my favorite categories of '80s kids movies,
where kids got away with everything.
Kids in danger.
Yep.
And kids got away with everything. So it's
So anyway, they find out that they're just a bunch of kids, and they have to send them back. So as a parting gift, they give Ben this amulet.
Yes.
And when it's asked, what is it? What's inside of it? He quotes
stuff dreams are made of.
Dreams are made of. In the worst
bogey
Bogart I've ever heard. So the boys make it back to Earth.
I wonder if they were going to sail away to Key Largo.
Bacall wasn't involved in this one.
We got a call back.
Very nice. You're never going to let me live that down.
We had it all.
You're never going to let me live that down. So they get back. As they land, the ship just completely crashes and destroys it. Mm-hmm. So they
crash into the bay.
Yeah, So they get back, and it's like nothing ever happened. Then a couple of weeks later, they're at school. And they're just trying to, they're sort of reconnecting, but not really reconnecting. And then all of a sudden, there's another dream.
Yes, they're in school. Yeah,
they all fall asleep in school, and they all have the same dream. And
all of them with Lori.
This time, and they all kind of communicate. And they're flying over another circuit board, and they're like, "This one looks far more complicated."
Yes,
and they're wondering where this one will take them. And just as it's starting to close out, you see Lori reach over and take Ben's hand, and they're holding hands, kind of very Peter Pan-esque,
very much
over.
So.
And that was the end of the movie,
pretty much.
So.
Yeah, which kind of set up for, hey, we could have a sequel.
Yeah,
which
exactly.
Never happened. We forgot to mention also that Lori, midway through this, has a dream also.
Yes,
her and Ben are in type thing. So it's one of those things where she's being pulled into it. Also, I wrote it down here. I think it's
what you got,
Charlie, which is Dick Miller's character.
Yes.
Whenever they're back at the station,
he used to have dreams like this.
I used to have dreams like this too, and he's like, I had dreams I had a dream that I haven't had since I was a kid.
Yep.
So it's one of those things where, again,
You
it's
wonder
not.
if it was something they would done in the past,
and
you
it's
know?
not. And it's one of those things where it's they set him up as he's kind of. He's the authority figure, but he's not a bad guy.
Right.
He's one of them, basically, you know. So, which is kind of cool. You know, you get that every once in a while. Usually there's a heavy in all these 80s kids movies.
Always.
You know?
At least one. There's one guy that's suspicious. There's one guy that's a heavy. There's one guy that's just stupid.
Right,
you
right.
know? But and you can tell watching the movie that it's an ending, but it's not really an ending. It just kind of stops.
Yeah, that's
know?
exactly it. It does. It just stops.
And that was one of the big things Dante had said is like, this is not the movie that I wanted to make. And he's like, I love the fact that it actually has a cult following and people love this damn movie, but this is not the movie I tried to make.
Right.
So,
and that's obvious. I mean, on rewatching this, it felt that there were several times in rewatching this, and like I said, I hadn't seen it since I was a teenager, probably.
Yeah.
Where I sit here, I was like, there seems to be like we missed something in here. Like like there was, you know, like
it feels like
just
there's
very
a void,
disjointed
you know?
in certain areas, and you can usually tell whenever a movie's been messed with by the studio. A lot of times like that, where it's
or
like
written by committee kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Where it's more a series of scenes than it's an actual story. You know, sometimes, which this one had more of a story to it, but there really did feel like, wait a second, we were supposed to know something. And
there's something we're missing. We're not in on the joke, or we're not in on the comments or something. But I found out a little bit of history on this movie as far as the production of it, which I thought was just fascinating. Initially, Joe Dante was not slated to direct this.
Okay.
It was supposed to be Wolfgang Peterson.
Okay.
You know him best from the movie The Neverending Story.
Right.
And he looked at it and wanted it and was actually set up to do it, and then decided he wasn't going to do it anymore, left, and did one of my other all-time favorite movies, Enemy Mine.
Oh, okay, yeah, Luke Gossett Jr. Yeah.
So they were grasping at anybody to do this, and they pulled in Joe Dante to do it,
which is not a bad backup at all.
I mean, Dante's done tremendous work on a lot of movies, but it always felt kind of interesting about, you know, how all of this stuff came together. Like Ethan Hawke was kind of slated for that and was supposed to be that role in the first place.
Okay.
River Phoenix was actually supposed to be playing the heavy. He was supposed to be playing Darren's role, but because he was from where was he from? Like South Africa?
Or something.
He wasn't clicking with a lot of the nomenclature and a lot of the slang and stuff like that. So because he was so just awkward, they're like, we need him as Wolfgang.
Yeah.
He
plays a good 80s nerd in this.
And I'm going to hit you where you live. Do you know who was originally cast to play Laurie in this? Sherry Curry.
Really?
As in the Runaways.
Yeah.
But apparently she was like deep.
What was the movie she was in? Was it Little Fox? It wasn't Fixed. It was
I can't remember.
There was a movie she did in the early '80s, you know, when she's crossed over into
she had done a little bit of acting, but at the time
a little
she was
old
like
for this though.
Seriously into rehab at that point. So she was trying to get her life back together, so it didn't really work out. But I want to see that movie. I want to see Sherry Curry playing the love interest on this.
Again, she was a little old.
Well, I mean, none of these actors were super young.
No, but I mean,
what they were.
Still. Maybe she would just present older than any of these actors would. More than anything. Anyway, so.
But yeah, this again, the movie, you can see based off of all this that this movie was destined to fail. Everything was working against this movie. So, you know, between when it was released, what it was going up against, the fact that they switched directors, they switched production companies, everything about this movie should not have worked. And yet, the product that they put out on it is such one of those touchstones that if you were a child in 85 and you begged your parents to take you to the movies, they would have taken you to see this because it definitely screams kids movie.
Oh yeah, this is right in the same vein with like the Goonies or
another Dante.
Yeah. Well, Monster Squad.
Yeah.
Another Dante.
Another Dante.
Yeah, I mean, it's like
the guy knows his kids' movies.
Yeah, he does. And they all kind of have this similar, you know, vibe to them.
Right.
Again, I did not see this in the theaters. I saw it once it hit home video. It was another one of those movies that my mom was like, "Hey, I think you'll probably like this," you know.
Right.
And I fell in love with it. I was just like, wow, this is really cool. I did not see all the flaws in it back then so much as now. You know?
It's fraught with problems. And in going back and rewatching, you can sit there and see it's surprising that the movie had as large of a budget as it did.
Right.
You know, for what it was.
I'll tell you something that, like, immediately when I started watching this, that immediately popped into my head. When just as soon as I might even before I actually started the movie, was him commenting about her Thompson Twins albums.
Oh, yeah.
For whatever reason, for 40 years, that has stuck in my head
Where
about
he's floating around and looking at what's in her room.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, she got Thompson Twin albums. And for whatever reason, that's the line that stuck with me, besides the Thunder Road thing, you know. It's just so weird. I know. It's just weird. That's the way my brain has always worked, where I would just like, I remember like weird-ass shit like that.
See, I remembered, like, All Around the World, the Little Richard song.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of it, which, strangely enough, was not on the soundtrack.
No.
The Robert Palmer version of it was. It's not as good.
No.
But
because Little Richard was the man.
Well, he went crazy on it, you know.
Dude, Little Richard. That's a whole other thing.
Yes,
but that's
a different. That's a different.
that is a tangent waiting to happen right there. So.
But yeah, like I said, this thing was just completely wrought with all kinds of problems on it. But the cool thing about this movie is, if you're like me and you like the little nods to other things that people call them Easter eggs.
Oh, okay. I've got some written down
this
here.
Has a ton of them.
I know.
So we'll hit on a couple of
Ben's room. Okay,
yes,
let's start there.
Start there.
Okay. I have two things written down about Ben's room.
Okay.
First one is, I thought it was really cool that. Well, actually, I guess I got three things. The kid's really into sci-fi because he has like all kinds of War of the Worlds. And he's watching War of the Worlds. He's got, like, I forget what it was on the back of the door. It was like it was a poster for another 1950s.
Yes, it was.
Which
it's
one
one of my favorites.
Which one is it?
It's oh gosh,
it wasn't This Planet Earth, was it?
It is.
It's okay, because he talks about that later about watching This Planet Earth with I guess it was Darren.
This Island Earth.
This Island Earth, yeah.
Which, for those of you who are Mystery Science Theater fans,
yes,
that was Mystery Science Theater, the movie.
Yes.
This Island Earth can be yours if the price is right.
Yes.
With the weird heads.
The other thing, whenever, like, when he has his dream in the beginning.
Yes.
Apparently, this bedroom was the go-to bedroom for every 80s movie.
I didn't find this one.
And I say, no, I'm just talking just like the way that it's constructed.
The layout.
You know, the layout, like they always had the same things, you know, whatever. I noticed him with the official Marvel Universe, or the official guide to the Marvel Universe comic book, as well as there was a DC comic. I forget which one it was.
Which is total sacrilege.
Oh, no, I take it back. It was Uncle Scrooge comic is what it was. Okay. He had, like, it was on, he was writing all this kind of stuff. I was like, first off, these days you would never get that stuff without some kind of series.
No.
Here is the one thing I put on there, and this is a personal thing. The poster that he had over his bed that had all the constellations, it was the universe and everything.
Yeah, I remember that one.
I had that poster when I was.
I think a lot of people had that poster.
You know where I got that poster?
Huntsville?
No.
Where?
I got it at the Smithsonian Institute.
Yeah,
exactly. And it was one of those things, it glowed in the dark.
Yep.
Like the Milky Way, like where the Milky Way, it would, we turn it off and it would glow in the dark. As soon as I saw that poster, it's funny because that poster was on that wall right behind you. Right over my bed whenever I was a kid, you know. But I did. I got that at the Smithsonian in '84 whenever we went up to Washington, D.C., and I was like, I got to have this poster. And, of course, then it shows up in the movie. So
okay. So let me go over some of the Easter eggs that I found that I lost my mind on.
This is just his room, right? Or
no, this is just
okay.
We're going.
All right, I got a couple more outside of it, but go ahead.
So, do you remember when they flew into the screen?
One more thing.
Yes.
Did you know? I know you noticed this.
Okay, talk to me.
It was in his room later. It wasn't in that first scene. The flyers for Space Camp and the stickers for Space Camp and everything. So
lost my mind on that. As if I needed more of a reason.
I know. There you go. Okay, so there you go. That was all of Ben's room stuff.
That's a conversation for
another
episode.
Podcast, yeah.
But when they were flying around and they went to the drive-in and they flew through the drive-in, the movie that was watching, Robert Picardo was on it. He was playing a character named Starkiller, which was Luke Skywalker's original name. Now, for extra points, the sound effects that they were
Yar's
using
Revenge.
was Yar's Revenge.
I have that written down.
Was Yar's Revenge.
Immediately, I heard that. Like, as soon as I heard it, I was like, oh, no. Because that is my favorite Atari game.
Yep.
Is Yar's Revenge. So I knew immediately when I heard that. I was like, that's Yar's Revenge.
And further nods. You were talking about the voice actors. Did you notice the name of the school that they went to?
I did, and now I can't remember.
Charles M. Jones High School, or junior high, excuse me, as in Chuck Jones.
Right.
For those of you who don't know who Chuck Jones is, watch more Warner Brothers cartoons. Yeah, he was the voice of everybody. Everybody. If it wasn't Mel Blanc, it was Chuck Jones.
Yes.
So, what were some of the other ones I saw? Oh, if you needed more, this gets me sci-fi cred. This gets me sci-fi cred all the way around. Wolfgang's rat. His name was Heinlein.
Heinlein.
I was like, it's Heinlein. When they go to the junkyard, you find they pass by a sled that says Rosebud on it. He even picks it up and says that.
Oh, see, I missed that. So
there's a line when they're getting, what is it? Just before they get pulled up, when they're first starting to get the connection with the aliens, where Wolfgang looks at everybody and just says, They're here.
Yeah, I remember that. I'm surprised you hadn't mentioned the NASA sticker that they had inside of the spaceship.
It was the worm. It wasn't the meatball. It was the worm.
Yeah.
Those of you space geeks know exactly.
And
what
also
I'm
the
talking
fact that they had a space shuttle as a hood ornament.
They did,
basically. You know,
as a matter of fact, it was Space Shuttle Columbia.
It was Columbia.
So
because that's all that we had at that time.
Yeah, exactly. And the best one, and this is one that I'm surprised you missed.
Okay.
So in the scene, the helicopter pilot, Meshack Taylor.
Right.
He gets a copy.
Meshack Taylor, famously from Designing Women.
Yes.
And
Anthony.
Mannequin and Mannequin 2.
Yes, he played was it Hollywood Montrose.
That's right.
Had the greatest sunglasses
Dude,
ever.
I know.
Ever. So he buys a copy of the Devon County Gazette that talks about the Kingston Falls riot that's still unexplained.
Kingston Falls riot.
You know what was where it took place in Kingston Falls?
Tell me.
Think Joe Dante.
Is that Gremlins?
That is Gremlins.
Okay, yeah. Because that
Kingston
happened.
Falls
that was the year prior. Yeah, that's right.
They were talking about Gremlins.
Right.
You know,
yeah,
and I was just like,
right.
oh my God, I can't believe I missed that. That
yeah,
is awesome. Yes.
And again,
this is me geeking out.
Again, Dick Miller, you know.
Dick Miller.
Yeah.
Dick Miller.
He kept talking about the Gremlins. They're in everything. They're
yes.
in
yes. But yes, I'm sure there's a ton of them that we missed on that. But those were just a few of them that
Well, once you get into... Once they're in space and they're on the ship, and all of the movie and television clips that are playing around, because there's the day the Earth stood still, and there's all. I mean, that's the one that jumped out at me.
It was supposed to be some type of a statement about how we as Earthlings view aliens, and we always view them as evil, or coming to hurt us or take us over.
Which was one of the things that Wack and is it Neek? Said was that. We can't. He started showing all these clips. Like, we can't come down there. We know what you guys
get killed.
Yeah, we know what you do.
Exactly.
You know, and not wrong. I mean, honestly, it's but yeah, that's I have a very special place in my heart for like all that atomic age.
Oh yeah,
you know,
the Googie architecture,
and all that
kind of stuff,
as well as just like the movies from that era. You know, all especially the worse they are, the better they are. You know, that's
So when I was a kid, we went to, I want to say it was either Universal Studios or MGM Studios in Orlando. And at one time they had,
when you were a kid,
yeah,
it was MGM.
Well, it was they had.
I thought Universal didn't come until the 90s.
They had both of them at the when we went, because we went to both of them, but I can't remember which one.
Younger than me,
yeah,
so
shut up.
That was still, but no, I mean like,
yeah,
that makes sense.
So when we went at one time, and I don't know if it's still here. I don't think it is. They had a restaurant that was in the theme of a drive-in theater, and you walked in and you sat in these like hollowed out cars.
I love that. Yeah,
and it was all surrounded by a giant screen, and they would run like clips and trailers and stuff from all of those old 50s, sci-fi horror stuff. I loved it.
I would frequent a place like
oh
that
my gosh,
now.
It was so cool just to be able to see. I mean, you're sitting in like a hollowed out Chevy, eating a cheeseburger, watching The Day the Earth Stood Still.
That's
This Island Earth, or any of these other ones that are just I adore those movies, and
the
that's
thing
one of the reasons
from outer space.
Yeah, the brain that wouldn't die.
Right.
Those kinds of things. That's one of the reasons why I am such a huge fan of Mystery Science Theater.
Right.
Not just because they rip into those damn movies, but they're a lot of fun to watch even without it. So any of those types of era movies are so much fun, and these just kind of play into the nostalgic element.
This falls. There was that weird time, like right in the middle of the 80s. Where like movies like this or Back to the Future, or
it was the nostalgia wave,
but it was for the 50s. You know, Stand By Me. It's like where it was like the algorithm's a little off here. You now eventually it would course correct to the 60s. Like by the end of the decade.
Yeah,
and then the 70s came full on all through the 90s. I mean, that was
think
just
you could almost say that started with Grease,
right? And then that was
and
the
then
70s,
just kind of came from there.
But it was like. Well, that and Happy Days, and it was Happy Days was on before Grease.
The Heavenly Kid was,
there was a whole bunch.
There was a lot of throwback.
George Lucas, American Graffiti.
American Graffiti,
all
absolutely.
That, about the car culture and stuff.
Absolutely.
Again, early, was it 73, 74 when that came out?
Something around those odds, yeah.
But especially in the mid-'80s, there was this, all of a sudden, like you started seeing a lot of this stuff. You started seeing a whole lot of like the music from that era started permeating itself into not just television, but like in commercials and all kinds of stuff.
Well,
and it was just really
that's when a lot of the licensings for those fell out, so they could use it.
The baby boomers were just coming into power.
True.
They were still fucking there.
They were, they were coming into power, but they were also coming into an element.
We have some money. We have kids.
Let's look at stuff that we
all
like.
this nostalgia. I know
The Big Chill. I mean, there's the perfect example.
Again, your early 60s there, but it's still Atomic Age type stuff. But this falls in that again, where it's like kids that would have been around my age, So I guess it's in '85. So I was 11 in '85, So and these kids are 12-ish, 11, 12, somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
And so it's like, okay, this makes sense. Goonies were around my age,
right?
There was Monster Squad. Those kids were around my age.
Well, but the cool thing about it is they hit on, I would say, probably about maybe a 5 or 6 year window of kids that if you were a little bit older, you remembered being that kid. If you were that age, you wanted to be that kid, and if you were younger, you looked up to that kid.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They really, that was a sweet spot for them for, I'd say, maybe closer to about 8 or 9 years.
Right.
Of range. So they really hit on a good market for that as far as what was going to be available to people that want, their kids wanting to go see this movie.
Right.
So, and it was very smartly done. Again, Dante made a lot of good decisions. A lot of them he lost out to, but the whole idea of bringing in a Little Richard song at the end of it, was a brilliant idea because it ties
and not
in.
one of his like huge hits.
No, it wasn't a gigantic hit for him, but it was
song,
and it fit. It fit perfectly.
Yes.
And it's one of those ones that, I think you and I have talked about this a couple of times before, where you have songs that the second you hear it, you go back to a scene from a movie.
Right.
All around the world, if you hear that song, that Little Richard song, that's where you're going back to, is watching this giant green slug dancing around having a blast.
Yeah,
so
it draws back the takes you back to a time and place the same way that Steelers Wheels with Stuck in the Middle of You.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everybody goes back to that scene in Reservoir Dogs, like what Michael Madsen dancing around the razor.
What was the one from The Crying Game? When he's in the shower.
Was it The Crying Game?
I think it was the song of The Crying Game.
Yeah, it was Culture Club did it.
It was either Culture Club or just Boy George. I can't remember. But
yeah, it may have been just Boy George.
But yeah, again, iconic scenes from those, or the whistle from Good, Bad, and the Ugly.
Right.
You hear that.
Oh yeah.
I know exactly where I'm at.
Oh yeah,
now.
that's sweet. The Good, Bad, and the Ugly suite is just like fun,
yeah.
Dude.
I mean, it's one of those things that I think that was, now I don't know it's going to carry the same type of nostalgic weight as some of those other ones, but it's such a unique song to use that it wasn't being used in every other movie.
No, that's and that's again, you go back to that era, and you were starting, and like I remember the Beatles version of Twist and Shout.
Yep.
Showing up, and of course it's in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you know, but it showed up in a bunch, like it was in a TV commercial. I remember at the time, I can't remember what it was. I think it was an ice cream commercial or something. It was one of those things where all of a sudden, again, all this boomer nostalgia was starting to really permeate everything. I remember one summer, it seemed like there for a little while, there was like one summer where the Twist came back. Even like the Fat Boys did their version of it. Yeah. But then there was another summer. Wipeout came back. There was another summer where
Kokomo. When Kokomo came out, it was the Beach Boys, and it was their reincarnation of the Beach Boys.
Yeah, well, we won't talk about
I don't think there was I don't think there was a Wilson in it, but
it wasn't, because it
was all Mike Love, but that's a different story.
That's we don't talk about that.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
There's the Beach Boys, and then there's this abomination that carried on
shall not be named
for 50 years after it. You know, it's.
But there was actually a series of CDs that came out, and I wish I could find a copy of them. They were called something like Colas, Khakis, and Cars.
Oh yeah. There was like 4 of them, and they were double. They were double dip. They were. Yeah, I remember because when I worked at CD Warehouse in the late '90s, we sold those.
It was nothing more than collections of the songs that were used
from the
in
50s and 60s. I know.
Well, not just 50s and 60s, because that's the first time I heard Nick Drake's "Pink Moon."
Oh yeah,
was on a Volkswagen commercial.
Volkswagen, yep, that was in the early 2000s. Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, it really ran the range, but you got to see how these songs were being used in commercials and in stuff that was being shoved down your throat left and right.
Right.
I mean, honestly, can you genuinely say that anybody under the age of 30 would have heard the Van Halen version of "You Really Got Me" had it not been for that Nissan commercial?
I would have.
Well,
but I mean, but
I said under 30.
Well, but I mean, but that's still a, I understand that. Well, the thing that kills me, we're getting into a whole different thing. The thing that kills me is that, like, I guess it was somewhere around 20-ish years ago when all of a sudden a lot of those bands that I really loved as a kid, like Zeppelin and The Who, all of a sudden are doing Cadillac commercials, like their songs are winding up. Yeah. And the one that kills me to this day and will kill me forever was whenever, of course, they were all gone by this point, when the Ramones Rock and Roll, do you remember Rock and Roll Radio?
Yep.
Showed up in a Cadillac commercial, and I'm like, no. This is wrong on so many levels.
Well, you can blame Nike for starting that.
Oh, I know, the Revolution.
Well,
you can blame Michael Jackson for that, because
that was he had the rights.
That's after he had the rights, and he started licensing the Beatles stuff out to everything.
Yeah.
So,
but in cycling back, since we're cycling back, you were talking about a lot of things that were being brought back in and reintroduced. Yes,
go ahead.
There is a remake for this.
No.
The official statement is that, according to the Hollywood Reporter in 2014, so it's been on the shelf for a while. Paramount was developing a remake of the Explorers through the low-budget label Insurge Pictures, which I can't think of anything off
they've
Insurge.
done. Yeah.
It's supposed to have the same tone, and this is what breaks my heart, of a Michael Bay movie.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I can't. I mean, and again, we've talked about this in the past. There are certain movies that
it needs to be left alone.
Well, I would like to see a remake done of. Like
I don't have any.
The Last Starfighter. I would love to see a remake done of that, because the technology is so much better now to make it something good. It was great for what it was, so with that kind of technology to it, can make it even better.
The problem, and here is like, I agree with that to a certain extent. The problem is that with remakes, and I understand they have to like update it to the current culture or whatever,
Right.
But the thing is that so many times with remakes, they will take these movies and
gut them.
They completely gut them, and it's basically it's the name or maybe a character or something like that, and then it's all like, okay, let's shove 2022 into this, and it's just like,
but I think in remakes defense, and keep in mind, I'm not a huge remake fan by any stretch of the imagination.
I can count on one hand how many remakes I've seen that I actually
But I do
liked.
think doing kids movies maybe a little bit easier to do.
Well, it's been Disney's stock in trade for decades.
Right,
I mean,
but you got to remember, this wasn't a Disney movie,
I know,
though.
I know.
This was this is a Dante. This is
I know,
totally different one. We're going to talk about one later on.
Yeah, we're going to talk about a Disney movie later, but in our next episode.
That was eventually a Disney movie.
Yeah,
it didn't start out that way. But I think with kids' movies, especially ones that are kid-centric, not just ones that are made for kids, but use kids as a main characters in it, I think that may be a little bit easier because some of these elements that they touch on in these movies are so universal.
Right.
The idea of wonderment, of space wonderment, of what's going on. The idea of, a bunch of weirdos rallying together and finding friendship in one another that otherwise would have nothing in common with one another. That was
kind of a formula
everywhere,
of you would have these
Motley Crue
kid ensemble movies where you would always have like one tough kid that like wasn't really a part of the group but kind of becomes a part of the group unwillingly, and type stuff. And
there's always a brainy one.
Yes.
There's always one that's the dreamer or the idea person.
Right.
There's always the funny one, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I do think that, is that life imitating art, or is that truly,
a little bit.
a
lot of it's archetype also. That's
you have a child. You've seen the friends that your child has around them, and a lot of them are a group of idiots. And I don't,
No, it's true.
And I don't say that derogatorily.
Kids are idiots.
Kids are idiots. They're supposed to be. That's
kids
their
are
job.
idiots until they're 35. I mean, it's like
but that's just it. I mean, my nephew is 16,
right?
And,
he's an idiot.
I love him to death. But some of the friends that he has, even he will say, "Yeah, these guys are just idiots." But those are the friends that you love. Those are the friends that you have. Those are the friends that you connect with. And those are the ones that you want to go out and do adventures with
absolutely.
and have fun with
Absolutely.
and get into trouble with and see what you can do with it, So I do think that those kinds of elements are universal on a lot of levels and will continue to be universal moving forward.
Even if you look at Star Wars.
Okay.
Luke Skywalker's the nerd.
To a point, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
more of a whiner, but okay.
Yeah, but he's he's the nerdy kid.
Yep.
Han Solo is the cool guy that's not even supposed to be here. Obi-Wan Kenobi is the older, wiser one that
Chewbacca's the muscle.
Chewbacca's the muscle. Princess Leia is the girl that because that's you almost always have the girl. And that's who that character was for a lot of it. It's like, oh no, we have the girl. She's here.
We got to figure out what to do with her.
Yeah, we got to figure out where she fits into this.
Yep.
And so those. I mean, and even going back beyond that, you can go back to a whole bunch of movies where you can kind of have those archetypes.
But I do think that there's a reason why those archetypes still exist because a lot of them ring true. And does it pigeonhole people? Maybe a little.
Yeah.
But I do think that especially with kids movies, a good kids movie, one that has lasting power, is going to touch on those elements that they are something that you can look at and say, oh, I was that guy. Or I was this guy,
Something else I want to get into before we get out of here is some of the products / technology.
Oh, yeah.
Because he has this Apple computer. Okay, this is pre-Macintosh Apple. It was probably, a 2E maybe or something like that. This is 86.
It was either a 2 or a 2E. I can't remember. That he had the back off of it and everything.
Right, and he talked about, like, oh, this only has 128K, or whatever. It's like, but it should be plenty of power.
Oh, yeah. Which it always fascinated me looking at the technology that, that was the fantasy in the 80s was let's do anything we can with something that now has less technology than what's in your watch.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. So, shit, less technology than what's in Rob the Robots.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, but if you think about it, there's a reason why NASA didn't change a lot of the technology in the space shuttle for
decades,
20 years, 30 years.
I know.
Because number one, it worked.
Yeah.
Number two, there was no way to hack it.
Right.
You can't hack a dip switch.
Right. Yeah. It's true. It's true.
So,
one of the other things we can talk about pulling the back off and everything. When you're talking about, there's not enough power, there's not blah, blah, blah.
Oh, and he pulls out the 9-volt battery?
The Rayovac 9-volt battery that is the old one that was the red with the black. With the, I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was man. Because Rayovac still makes batteries, but they don't have that same,
like that now.
But yeah, him pull as soon as he opened the back and I saw that red, I was like, oh, that's a Rayovac. Yeah. I know that's a Rayovac.
Oh my gosh. Well, and like you said, when they were, my favorite part was just going, I went back and I would actually pause the scenes where they showed Thunder Road. road, and you could see all the bits and bobs that made it up.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
There was an old television part that came across. There was like a piece of luggage.
Well,
was one of the doors.
The front of it was
a trash can.
The top was it was a trash can, but it was on a tire.
Yeah.
It was just sitting on, that, and of course that was what the space shuttle sat on top of. Yeah, you're right that the hatch on the top was just a piece of luggage.
Yep.
And yeah, it was kind of cool.
Well,
it
reminded me, and I know, and there's like portholes from sides of cars and stuff like that. But what it reminded me of, and I know you did this when you were a kid. I know your child probably did this, where you get the cardboard box.
Oh, yeah.
Draw on the cardboard box
yeah.
what you want it to be.
Yeah.
And, or you bits and bobs stuff together on this. And that's what really hit me on this, watching them put this together and just seeing all the little nuances and pieces and how much each one of them served a purpose.
I had a book when I was a kid, and I cannot for the life of me remember the name of it now. But it was all about this family bought a new refrigerator, and there was a box.
Okay.
And
I think I
the
remember
cycles that this box went through with their little girl, it was a house, and then it got pushed over something, and then she drew on it, made it into a race car, and then and it was one of those things to where like eventually, because it was outside, it got rained on, and that was the end of the box. But it was really cool watching like all of this stuff, how she kept morphing it into something else over time.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah, and exactly. That's
But that's
and cats are taking that. Are still doing that to this day. As soon as you get something, a cat's going to go and get in the box.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, buts
now
about
theirs,
it.
so you need to leave it alone. But it was that element of just and I credit movies like that with the real big upsurge in things like upcycling, because I mean it's taking stuff that you would have never, ever, ever thought would have served the purpose that you're wanting it to, and making it, kind of shoehorning it to do it. I mean, I'm looking across the room where there's an old Magnavox television that you've gutted and turned into a TV stand.
If I will admittedly, I bought that. I did not.
Okay.
And no, it was on a Facebook Market. Someone had done this. Like they had turned it into specifically for gaming. Right. And I'll put a picture of it up on our Instagram so people get it.
It's definitely.
And it was one of those things that initially when it went up, like when it I had content, I was like, hey, I really want this. They're like, well, it's already sold. Like there's somebody supposed to come pick it up. I'm like, all right, well, if it falls through, let me know. And a couple of hours later, I got a message saying, hey, the person who's supposed to buy it, it's not going to. I was like, I will be there in 20 minutes. Like I'm not even going to, and it is, and it's amazing because we had a television very similar to this. It's the old console type,
did.
It's got had all the wood around the outside. It's heavy shit, man.
Weighed a ton.
And it's funny because that thing's not very heavy at all, but it was all in the picture tube and all those stuff, So whoever did this did a brilliant.
One of the windows was a picture tube.
Yes. I love the fact that Darren, they haul the computer and the monitor up to the top of that hill.
Yep.
And Darren's like walking around. I was like, dude, that thing would have weighed like 35 pounds easily. And he's just like trekking along. I'm like, yeah, there's nothing in that thing whatsoever.
Unless that kid's a bodybuilder. I don't think so.
But yeah, that kind of stuff is just like, I have. Maybe after this is over, I'll show you. I've got a couple of old. I've got a not an original, but the second generation of Macintosh.
Oh gosh!
And I also have another. It wasn't the Macintosh; it was the precursor to it. It's the same.
The Lisa.
It wasn't the Lisa, but it was basically from between the Apple IIe to the Macintosh.
Oh, I remember.
It was
this.
whatever that was.
Yeah.
They're both like self-contained. Where it's
the monitor and the computer.
Yeah,
all in one.
and I have one of each of those that I picked up at like thrift stores in the last 10 years or something.
Oh, there's collectors out there that go crazy.
Yeah, and one of them works and one of them doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just kind of and the Macintosh is the one that doesn't. It powers on, but the monitor doesn't come on.
I'm not going to work on your computer. I see what you're doing. I know where this is going.
Since you're an IT guy,
I know where this is going. I'm not going to.
But
fix your computer.
One of the reasons I never got rid of it is I was like, I would kind of like to get this up and running, to see what it could do with it.
You just want to play Oregon Trail again.
Yeah.
Or
I was never.
Or Math Chompers. Or
Oregon
one of those
Trail
games,
was an all right game. I had other games that I enjoyed playing.
You were a Leisure Suit Larry guy.
No, I never did.
You
Leisure
were.
Suit Larry.
Don't lie.
I didn't. I did. Okay, I did. Oh, no, it's not this. Yes, it is. All of the DOS stuff that comes up. that was another thing that took me back.
Yeah, it's like a Macintosh running DOS.
Yeah, I know
What?
I know that. But it was just the fact that as soon as those commands started coming up on the screen, I was like, oh, I remember
And it was
MS-DOS.
a green screen.
I know.
It was the
like,
old school green screen.
I know. I was like, that took me back.
It's like, how is that not burned into that already?
Again,
you know?
I have because I collect junk that nobody else wants. I have a Texas Instruments TI 99 that they like would hook up to your computer.
A Trash 90?
Yes, it would hook up to your TV.
Yes.
I have the manuals for it. The
Trash 90.
The only thing I don't have is
I forgot about that.
I don't have that cassette recorder that would save all the stuff.
Yes, when you dropped your tape backup.
Yes, it was actually cassette tape. I know. But yeah, I found one again because that was the computer that we had here at home, and I remember like sitting there going through like plugging in, 10, go to, blah, 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 just like blah, 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 going through all the stuff, all the way through it. Because that's
so that's how you screen to change color.
Yeah, that's all it was. You would have to like put in like 50 lines of code to have like one thing happen on the screen.
I distinctly remember BASIC. See, mine was a Commodore 128.
You had a Commodore?
I had a Commodore 128, and this was back when you had...
I used to have a VIC-20.
Oh, the VIC-20 was great.
Yeah.
But where you had, like, the computer and the keyboard were one and the same, and then you had the floppy disk was a separate device.
Yes, it was.
You used your television as the monitor.
Yep.
I mean, it was just this big, cumbersome, bulky... beige thing, but I would spend hours on that playing the most ridiculous games.
Oh, I know.
Not even 8-bit.
Well, I said all of that together, which is funny that you're wearing the Atari.
Yes, I'm wearing my Atari
t-shirt
t-shirt
today. I said all that because you brought up Leisure Suit Larry. I never had Leisure Suit Larry. I did, however, because back in the day, copying a floppy disk was nothing whatsoever, and we used to bootleg games like crazy.
Oh, of course.
I remember having strip poker.
Oh God.
Okay, and it was like, and I remember like sneaking in and playing it, after my parents were in bed,
watching all the pixels come up.
But here's the thing: the version that I was given was all male.
Oh.
And but I remember like because it was one of those things. Again, having a little bit of basic knowledge of going into the code and like looking through it and like, okay, blah, 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 and being able to like not have to actually play the game to actually get the final
images,
but also finding that there was a woman's name in the code, but apparently it was never developed completely. So it wasn't actually there,
Nice.
But it's so funny because I look back on that going back 40 years, of learning MS-DOS,
right?
Because that's what they were teaching in school. The computers that we had at my school were the let me see if you remember this, the PC Junior.
I remember the PC Junior,
the IBM PC Junior. Yep. That's what I learned on. Now of course with binary you can kind of go on other stuff as well.
I remember when I left for college, I got my first Packard Bell.
Oh yeah. But thinking back on it now and being like, wow, I actually did know a little bit about programming at that point because that's what we were being taught. We were being taught, our computer class was all about this is how you program something. Our computer class that we took in 7th grade was like the final project was basically to write a program of some sort. And I wound up writing, like, I did this whole thing where like, I got the computer to play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star.
Nice.
Or no, it was When You Wish Upon a Star.
Nice.
I take that back because I remember like getting my dad because I didn't read music.
Right.
He did. To get down and actually write out because we had the sheet music for it, and he would just give me the letter, like the name of the note was, and me going in and like programming and all that stuff. And
the funny thing is, and to kind of cycle back to the movie, there's so much of the technology aspect of it that plays into this. When Wolfgang is programming the computer, when they're working on the circuit boards, when they're putting the ship together, the bubble when it pops up, all of that, and it is a bit of
that whole vector, the whole vector,
the 3D
thing.
vector,
I know,
it is a bit of a time capsule on this. And one thing I've never understood is why in all of these movies they always have an oscilloscope off to the side.
I know.
No one ever used an oscilloscope. What is it for?
Well, it
looks cool.
Yeah, it's kind of like a what's it called? Is it Jacob's Ladder?
Oh, the thing that goes up? Yeah, that's a Jacob's Ladder.
it showed up in like every sci-fi movie.
Serves
like,
absolutely no
purpose whatsoever except for burning you.
Well,
that's the only thing that it will do.
And I still, for the life of me, I still don't understand where, it was decided like early 50s going into beginning of the 60s when a theremin was the scariest instrument on the planet.
But it works though. Seriously, you hear that theremin, you automatically think sci-fi horror, somewhere.
Or the Beach Boys, one of the two.
Yeah, well, good vibrations.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or Dazed and Confused.
Oh, that's right.
Now, it's funny the way that they use the theremin in that because it's literally a thing that like Jimmy Page. We're just going to complete tangent here. Jimmy Page figured out how to take the theremin and use it with his guitar.
Yep.
And used it to great effect, especially if you go and watch The Song Remains the Same, the live and concert stuff, where he's like literally throwing notes. With because that was like he would use the bow on the thing.
Yep.
But he's literally like throwing notes off that theremin. It's wild shit.
It's bizarre.
I know. It's like only Jimmy Page would come with. Those guys were definitely on a different plane than some of their shit that they did, you know.
And for those of you that don't know what we're talking about as far as a theremin, if you watch the TV show The Big Bang Theory, there is an episode where Sheldon.
That's Sheldon got a theremin.
Playing,
that's right.
He's playing the opening. Oh, one that we forgot. The opening to Star Trek.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's on a theremin.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's the thing I loved most about this movie. It was just, like I said, it's a time capsule of technology, of how we believed that some 12-year-old sitting in his basement could figure out some way to generate a self-contained, indestructible bubble that can travel in, thousands of miles an hour and not affect anything.
Right. It's really, I know it's one of those, again, not that we figured out how to do that, but it's funny that we watched this movie because it wasn't a couple weeks ago. I was listening to a podcast and somebody was talking about some company that's actually working on something very similar to this.
It surprised me.
It's like he kept saying, yeah, it's one of those things. You can create this bubble that is completely resistant to all the laws of physics because it's like they've done it on a very small scale, but they're trying to extract it out of you. And then we watch this movie. I'm like, 40 years later, here we are. It's like I'm making an executive decision. This is like until just a few minutes ago when we were sitting here talking, I'm like, we're moving into the summer now, and I know we've got our tournament still coming up because I know this is going to go. I know this is going to go up before because of life. I think this summer we're going to cover just
summer movies.
Summer movies that type, like this. We might do Tron, since we're coming up on the 40th anniversary of Tron. Okay,
you're hitting my happy space.
Maybe we do Back to the Future, or what? I'm just like, because Space Camp is one we already have on the where it's summer quote unquote summer movies, or movies that came out that are so associated with the summer of 80s. We're doing 80s. We're doing all 80s. I'm sorry.
I would do 80s, probably going into like early 90s, maybe. But by that point, you kind of lost that feel.
A little bit.
And that's one of the things you talked about with Tron, with this, with
I've already made
Camp,
the executive decision that
Flight of the Navigator's another one.
Flight of the Navigator, which is a movie we're going to do. I had already made the executive decision a little while back that for Oktoberfest we're going to do Poltergeist, which I very much associate with summer.
Yes,
for multiple reasons. We'll get into that when we get there. But yeah, why not? I mean, that'll be great. Just for whatever reason, this summer just kind of has got that 80s feel to it.
Think about it. It's, if you remember when you were a kid,
yes,
and when these movies came out, it kind of had that. You knew. It was this sense of relief. It was a sense of fun.
Do Goonies.
Oh, yeah.
Another one, yeah.
It was a sense of fun. It was a sense of relief. It was that sense of, we got through a lot of crap, so now we're going to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Sound like any kind of pandemic that we've gotten out of?
Well, one other thing before we get out of here, as far as the movie, something we touched on last episode.
Yes.
That we were talking about that GenX autonomy.
Mm-hmm.
These kids are, yes, their parents are around, they are not supervised by any
Nowhere
stretch of the
close to supervision. Nowhere close to it.
You know, they're in junkyards at night and nobody's batting an eye about
They're at
over
junkyards
it.
at night. They're gone for hours on end.
I know.
I mean, the funny thing is, if you go back and watch it, the whole scene with Wolfgang and his family, it's like his family doesn't even know he's in the room.
I know.
You know, it's
His
great.
Dad,
you know?
yeah, his dad is like obsessed with bugs. Like
Yeah.
he's always looking for the bug bomb.
Where's the bug bomb?
I know. It's like
I mean, it's so funny. And you know, Mary Kay Place, you know, I think she makes an appearance in the movie like 3 times.
Yeah.
That's
well, I love
it.
the whole like, oh, you know, you tell me your name once, I'll never forget it. You know, and he calls her as Darren, then she immediately calls him Derek.
Derek
is like, how many kids did they have?
Yeah, no kidding.
I know. I started
No
counting.
kidding.
Outside of I counted 4 small kids.
So remember how I mentioned that there was a lot of this movie that was chopped out?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Go ahead.
Do you remember the scene when they're in the it keeps going back to the scene with the drive-in where the guy's sitting there in the movie theater or in the drive-in with his arm around the girl.
Oh yeah.
That's so fake.
Yeah,
That just looks so fake.
I know.
That's supposed to be Ben's older brother.
Oh, okay. Well, you know,
They never say it in the movie
because
but,
the thing is, he was given such a prominent.
Yeah.
You would think that there was
elongated scene, you know.
Okay.
And actually, this is the movie that introduced me to the phrase "the traveling mat." I didn't know what a traveling mat was before I actually saw this movie.
Okay.
And the funny thing is, they were talking about it it was supposed to be Starkiller, but the scenes that they were using from that was Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh, okay. Well, you know what? Okay, what was the name of the movie that they were supposedly watching? Because it was on the marquee. No, it was on the marquee. It was, and Ben said it. Hey, let's go to the drive-in. They're showing. You know, whatever.
I cannot remember.
But I also love the whole like the scene where it's him and it's the alien woman and then the other guy and then the other guy dies. He's like, he was like a father to me, and then she said, he was my father. And that was again going back to what's his name again?
Robert Picard.
Robert Picard. Yeah, he was perfect in that. Just perfect in that role. So
he nailed it. And the funny thing
it was a very Flash Gordon-esque type.
It was Flash Gordon.
It
was Buck Rogers.
Yes,
it was all of these types of cliches that have been run into the ground with it, but it was so perfectly done because he's such a good actor on playing just straight face over the top. And then to have him playing whack.
Yeah.
Just going completely bonkers. It
Right.
was so much fun to watch him just play every kind of character that you could think of squashed into like a 10-minute window.
Oh, that reminds me. Whack's father.
Yes.
You know, the thing that I even remember this as a kid is that he's kind of speaking English. Kind of. Like he's, but it's like you pick words out every once in a while where it's like he's not actually enunciating the words.
When she says the whole line, we'll always have Paris.
Yes, Paris, or Wolfgang, but he's not actually saying it. He's kind of literally doing it that way, you know, where it's
what did Ben say when he first heard about it? It's like, what is that? Oh, space pirates.
Yes, space pirates.
Space pirates.
Yeah, space pirates. Yes. We could do space pirate or ice pirates.
Ice pirates. Oh. Man, you're hitting on my happy space.
Apparently, we're gonna have to sit down after this is over and make a list of these are all the movies we're gonna watch.
We will have a chart. There will be a chart involved. Somewhere there will be an Excel spreadsheet out of this.
Ice pirates. The thing that I always carry from ice pirates is space herpes. And I remember, like, as a small child saying that, and my mom was like, "Don't say that! Don't say that!" I had no clue whatsoever.
If you throw that one out, you have to throw out Time Bandits.
Oh. I'm for it.
Yeah, I'm down, baby.
And again,
I'm down.
a movie I have not seen since I was a kid.
I know, and it holds up.
Really?
It holds up.
Like I said, I have not seen it since I was a kid. I just remember John Cleese playing Robin Hood.
Yes.
And it said literally, it's like, oh, here you go. And then like the people will go off and they'll like knock him over the head and take the stuff back.
Well, there was Terry Gilliam. I mean, come on. You know? It was hard to find a Terry Gilliam movie that wasn't just so wonderfully bizarre.
Oh, I know. Does Gilliam actually play the devil in that?
I can't remember.
I can't remember who it was.
I can't remember.
I love, and we're going such a tangent here. But I always loved that depiction of the devil, of where he was more concerned with technology. You know, and he has that whole monologue about like, you know, why would God create slugs? You know, that just makes no sense to me because we could do all this stuff with technology and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, that's an interesting take on that character, you know, of, okay, that's okay.
The only one that I've seen like that before or not before, but after that was, and it's a Woody Allen movie.
Of course it is.
Yeah, it's one of the only.
Was it
Harry
Deconstructing Harry?
Yeah. Where was it Billy Crystal's playing Satan?
Right.
And he goes, "Yeah, come on in. We got air conditioning. You have air conditioning? Yeah, it screws with the ozone layer.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. All right. Well, that's all we have to say about.
Go see this movie.
Go, dude. Wherever
Rent
it's
it.
available. I know it's streaming a couple places.
It's so worth it. It's so worth it. I mean, watch it with the kids. This is one you can watch with your kids.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, because there's not really any language
there's not
or anything.
a whole lot that's involved.
It's pretty wholesome, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I think there's probably a couple words dropped, but it's nothing big, you know.
If they've listened to this episode,
oh yeah, they've heard way more just listening to one episode of this than they would hear watching that movie 1,000
But yes,
times.
go watch this movie with your kids. Sit around, then go outside and look up at the stars.
Before we get out of here,
do that.
Before we get out of here, just on a personal note, a guy that I've known since 4th grade died just recently. His name was Baxter Stroud, and we've been, like I said, we've been friends since 4th grade. And watching this movie, you know, Baxter was that first friend that I had that was into the same things that I was into. You know, comic books and sci-fi and
all the wonderful things that make life weird. Well, you know what? Let's do this. This episode's for Baxter. Cool? All right. Well, my man is needing a moment here, so I'm going to go ahead and take on this. Like I said, guys, go out, watch this movie, watch it with your kids, go outside, look up at the stars afterwards, see if there's a big green slug that's up there that's trying to summon you through your dreams. And, yeah. If you have any other comments or if there's any of those other movies, you know, we've listed off a ton of them, but if you have any other movies or any other ideas for episodes that you'd like us to dig down on and really research on, hey, hit us up on Discord, hit us up on Facebook, hit us up on any of the socials on that. You know, keep us in the loop on this. If you think this was ridiculous.
there's going to be so much more ridiculous.
We are just scratching the surface on this, you know.
This kind of opened the floodgates of some stuff for me personally. All of a sudden, I was like, no, I love all these movies.
Yeah.
I was telling, another little side note, I went out with a friend of mine last night that, again, I've known since like 5th grade, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling her, I was like, you know, for some reason, ever since we did the 1982, like the best of, like, or the top 100.
Yes, I've had a lot of requests for that one too.
I have been stuck in an 80s music loop that I have not been in decades, literally.
It's not a bad thing.
And all of a sudden, it's just like, no, I want to listen to all this stuff, you know? So just like, all right. But yeah, guys, thank you so much. We will be back with some more cool stuff. I know we're getting ready to record another episode right after this that you guys, I know we're going to enjoy. So.
I am so excited. I'm so excited.
So thank you once again for listening to us. My name's Alan Smith.
I'm Barry.
And we are the Project Gen X podcast. Dave will be back soon. You know, I know we keep talking. You know, Dave has not left us. Dave is not going on hiatus.
Nope.
Dave is just dealing with a lot of stuff with work right now more than anything else, and I get it because life.
What do they always say it when somebody's left from the newscast? He's on assignment.
Yes, exactly.
Dave's on assignment.
Dave is definitely on assignment, but he will be back soon. I know he's going to have a lot of thoughts about all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
In the meantime,
we might just turn on a microphone and leave because we know he's going to have a lot to say.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. We will see you next time.
See ya.
It was the heat of the moment, telling me what my heart meant. The heat of the moment showed in your eyes. And now you find yourself in 82. The disco hotspots hold no charm for you. You can't concern yourself with bigger things. You catch a pull.